An interesting pig question for you, Hillary. Pig in a blanket day. Where did pigs originate from?
No idea.
You'd never guess. Have a go. You'll never guess. Have a go.
Portugal.
Spain.
Ooh,
so actually, you were not that far
so
off.
silly.
Okay. Are guinea pigs related to pigs?
No.
No, they're not. How?
Are you asking me the questions?
No. Well, yeah, I was actually, but I just didn't think you were going to get it, and then you did. What they're rodents. They're rodents. Where do guinea pigs come from?
Guinea.
No, they don't, actually, so you're completely wrong. Jim, where do guinea pigs come from?
I'm going to go somewhere radical Canada.
No.
Spain.
Jon Bridges, where do guinea pigs come from?
Spain, like real pigs.
No. Well, we just said they weren't related, so what's the chance they were going to come from the same country?
Still a small chance.
All right, David Hartnell, where do guinea
South
pigs
America.
come from? Ooh. Peru, Brazil, Bolivia, Venezuela, and Colombia. So, actually, David Hartnell, you win.
Do I get a mug for that or anything?
No, you win a
thank
trip
you
for
very
two.
much.
Oh, no, you don't. That's
sorry.
right. That
We
wasn't an
don't want
official
them
competition.
coming over here, do we, those guinea pigs?
No, God, you don't want them doing
Paul
that.
Henry.
Immigrant guinea pigs.
Exactly. All right, it's time to meet the panel who have already answered questions. Jon Bridges, 7 Days producer. How are you, John?
Very well,
Is
thanks,
that a
Paul.
good thing for us to call you? I know you are the 7 Days producer, but you're
am.
much more than that.
I am. I'm other things. I thought I was here for PR advice session.
No, that's
you a
afterwards.
journalist?
That's afterwards.
Oh, okay.
All right, so you're happy with 7 Days producer. I just thought,
No,
you've
it's
done
great.
a lot of things.
Yeah, I have done a lot of things, but that's what I'm doing right now, and that's, tonight we've got a big show, so after this I'll be going upstairs to edit it.
No promos, thank
Am
you.
I no promoing?
No. All right, and David Hartnell, who is just full of sartorial elegance.
Well, thank you very much.
What do we got? A celebrity watcher we've got for you. Is that about
Well,
right?
I think that's a pervy. I've been called the Godfather of Gossip. I think I prefer that one.
Yes, okay, Godfather of Gossip, and I like that.
Before we start, I'd just like to mention your coat. It sort of reminds me of the time when Elizabeth Taylor wore that $1 million diamond, and Princess Margaret was at the event, and Princess Margaret said, "How crass, how common, how over the top. That's vulgar. Let me try it on." So after the show, may I try it on?
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely. You need
Do
a photo
people-
in my jacket.
Do people like it, Paul, your jacket?
I don't care.
Well, that's great. We
I
won't
just
need
don't care.
we're not take a referendum on it then?
No, that's right. And that's the great thing about being me. I just don't give a...
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, let's talk about the stories of the day. Migrants, first of all. So we've had a 2,000% increase in 2 years in migrants. 56,000 migrants, net gain last year. David, obviously people look at Auckland and say, well, 34,000 of them came to Auckland. That's not making things easier.
Well, it's not. But I think, you've got to take each and every one in its case. And I think you were right. As a matter of fact, you took my line away, reading your book, Winston Peters. That's exactly what you said. And how many years ago did you write that?
Yeah.
So I think you've got to take each one on its case value. I really do.
If we could actually have 56,000 people come here every year that we need rather than that need us, I mean, how much better would the country be?
That's the deal.
They all need to pass a test, though. They've got a certain amount of points they have to get. It's hard to
But
get
it is
into New Zealand.
bizarre, though,
Are
isn't
we
it?
worried because they're all better than us? Is that what it... Because I couldn't get those points. I wouldn't be allowed in if I wasn't in already.
But you know the thing that we've had with taxi drivers, these brilliant taxi drivers, we've got Mensa taxi drivers driving around out here, and they pick me up quite often. The last time I was picked up here, it was literally, and this was last week, it was a doctor. It was someone who, in fact, he was a surgeon, and I had this long chat, unless he was just having me on. But these are people that just can't work here. How did they get here with qualifications that are not acceptable in this country? What a waste for us to have them driving taxis.
But what's the downside of having all these new people in the country? We're sparsely populated. The more people, the better.
Well, okay, that's a very good point. What is the downside? The downside is these people are not altering the fact that we're sparsely populated. They are gathering in groups in areas where we are not sparsely populated. And I think Winston Peters would say, and I agree with him, the downside is actually that we haven't planned it properly. So it's not necessarily that we don't want them, because I think we're all agreed, David, you're agreed, we do want them. It's just we don't seem to have a good plan in place to use them properly.
We need a new name for it too. We used to complain about the brain drain going over. Now we've got the brain gain. Rebrand it.
Yeah.
We're all happy.
Yep. Okay. Fair enough. So I think we have a consensus on this. We're actually in favour of it, but we need to do it properly and maximise it. And we're certainly not doing it properly at the moment. Okay. Ponytail gate. David.
Well, as you know, I'm not one to gossip, and I fall over my bottom lip trying to gossip. But let me tell you this, that the greatest thing that's come out of this, and the saddest thing that's come out of this, is it's really taken the gloss off of this gloss for Anzac.
Yes,
it's
it has.
everybody talking about it, and I've been a gossip columnist for 50 years, and sometimes I'm a bit ashamed at some of the tactics that some of the other gossip columnists, so-called, take. And I think that was pretty cheap and tacky, the way they did it, to be quite honest.
I think you're referring to the Herald.
I'm referring to the
story.
Herald, yes. I think that's... And it's not the first time that they've done that sort of thing
it's
either.
not. It's not. Well, I mean, this morning I launched the hashtag shabby little tabloid, and that is the way the Herald behaves. I mean, I'm sure that is what they want to do because they're clutching the last few years of revenue from a newspaper, and they've decided, John, that this is the way you do it, by behaving appallingly.
It doesn't seem to be the best behaviour, does it? You know, they're saying it's a he says, she says, but either this woman who's made the complaint and has been interviewed is very clever and has not only now brought John Key into question, but now is bringing the Herald down.
Yeah.
Either she's a mastermind or she has genuinely been wronged in some, you know.
And to be honest, I think, and even though she may well have ulterior motives, and there are suggestions that she has, and I probably believe that she has, she hasn't masterminded this, because if she was going to do that, it would have happened a lot earlier than this.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head a lot earlier in this. As soon as the Prime Minister's out of the country, they're on like a robber's dog.
Yeah. All right, our panel this morning, Jon Bridges and David Hartnell. We will be back with them shortly on this Friday before the long weekend, of course, Anzac weekend. And with me, the panel, Jon Bridges and David Hartnell. David, how are you going to be celebrating Anzac?
Very quietly. I'll be watching the television. I've never been to a dawn service, although it's on my bucket list to do.
That's not possible.
No, it's
really?
Absolutely possible. But I would like to go to dawn service. Well, it was a journey getting here today and this time, so I don't know about a dawn service.
Are you a late riser? You are.
Absolutely. Afternoon, evening, yes.
John, you would have attended many dawn.
I have also never attended a dawn service.
Really?
That's a terrible admission, isn't it?
Well, it's not so much as terrible, it's just really unusual.
Yeah, well, I've got a small baby now who's 18 months old, so maybe tomorrow will be the time to take him along and see what it's all about. And
so it's taking having a small baby to get you along to a dawn service.
Maybe that's where I've gone wrong.
It means more, doesn't it,
Yes,
when you're a parent?
So you'll never go to one.
I'll never go to one.
No. All right, let's talk Bruce Jenner finally. This weekend, we are going to see this much trumpeted interview. Now, this is very much in your ken, David, because you are obviously a media junkie, and particularly this kind of media. How do you think they've handled it?
Brilliantly. You know, we were just talking off air. You never see the face. You always see the back of the hair.
They've only just started showing
that. My one thing with this is I'm always amazed when they transgender over. They always want you to know that they were a man before they were a woman. If they want to become a woman, why don't they just go away and come back as a woman? But this is a marketing ploy. I mean, they'll make millions.
How much do you imagine, and you know what a lot of these people are paid, how much do you imagine Bruce Jenner will be getting for this interview alone, just the interview?
Oh, I would think 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
And then the spin-offs from that. And it'll be one playing only, and you know what businesses like, one playing only, and that'll be it. Yeah. Everybody will be riveted to the whole thing.
And of course, what it does with the follow-up reality shows and everything else.
He'll have his own reality show after this. I mean,
and I'm sure all of his operations, we don't know how many he's had, but I'm sure they've all been taped by umpteen different cameras. It'll be a 15
breast implants.
Shoot.
I think that's the major thing he's had at this. But he's 62, isn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's talked it over with his family and his children, which I think is great. Not just going out, I'm going to become a woman tomorrow, sort of thing. There's a wonderful film called Transparent. This was a woman who her father at 70 transvestite, at 70, the word I'm looking for. Transitioned into a woman, and she made a documentary. It's won numerous awards. It's a wonderful film.
This is television gold, John, and that's your business.
Yeah, this guy's... I think the funniest thing about this is that he's decided to have breast implants, but only small ones, because he didn't want to make a spectacle of himself.
No, God no. Well, he's a conservative. He's a conservative fellow.
But he's fickle, isn't he? He's a decathlete. We know he can't stick to one event, and he can't stick to one gender. He'll probably, he did the pole vault first, and then he did something else. And probably he's been a man and a woman.
He's also a desperately uninteresting man. He was the most boring of the Kardashians, wasn't he? But he's obviously found a way to garner some attention.
Well, I mean, when you look at him, he tried the movie business. That didn't work.
That's right.
And now he's married into the Kardashians, so he's set for life.
Now he's got tiny breasts.
Now he's got tiny breasts.
All right, David Hartnell, Jon Bridges, thank you both very much for joining us.
Thanks for
having us.
We will
have you both back. Why is it I don't want to start